Greg, how's it going?
All right, Jim, how are you?
Oh, not too bad.
It's good.
I'm just concentrating and trying to follow all of uh Susan's instructions in terms of how to set up the meeting as the host because Aaron can't attend. So I'm used to Theo taking over those responsibilities on the planning board because I'm just vice chair.
Yeah, we basically delegate all that to Dave my entire time on the board. Like, I think Dave may have missed once, maybe twice, and it was like, what do I click on?
The-
Who's
the worst part-
transcribing this?
The worst part is that it's not like I'm not on Zooms all the freaking time for professionally.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just that they hide. It seems like all of them. Zoom's actually one of the better ones, but all of them seem to hide all of the simple things and like click in this and then you have to go to a drag bar down here or whatnot. It's just annoying.
and isn't this like somewhat different? Like it's a Teams, or not Teams, a Zoom, I don't know, Zoom room versus Zoom chat or whatever they are. And they're like slightly different.
Yeah, it's just like just enough to screw you up when you're trying to locate something. But I think I got everything, so I'm just gonna kind of roll with it until
Yep.
unless someone slaps my hand and says you did something wrong. But how are things on the ZBA been recently?
Not bad. I mean, busy as usual, but I think next meeting has a chance to be extremely long. Our last meeting was only like 2.5 hours because a ton of things continued. But they continued into that meeting. So if they all go as planned next meeting, it could be very interesting.
I say, what's the record for length for one of your meetings? It's got to be pretty long.
Since I've been on the board, I know there was a 1 a.m. I mean, we're routinely like 11 to 11:30, something like that. So
Yeah.
usually about 4.5 hours. Midnight's not uncommon, but usually pretty close to that is the record. I think there was one 1 a.m. meeting.
That's tough.
I'm trying to remember what that was. That might have been in person way back when.
Yeah, the in person, I feel like it's probably both a blessing and a curse related to that.
Yeah. I always felt bad for the one person who was at town hall who had to lock up after us. Who poke his head in all the time. You're still going?
Done yet? You done yet? Yeah, I just remember professionally having to go for one of those meetings where we were presenting for the MBTA redevelopment project I was working on, where we were presenting to the Cambridge Planning Board, and they actually weren't the AHJ. We were just doing it as like a for reference, to be a good partner within the community.
Yeah, garner
So
some goodwill.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where obviously we took the feedback from the planning board, but they didn't have any approval rights. So it was because it was a state project and presided. And I just remember sitting there and listening to all these other presentations and just being like, can all of these please just stop now? Because, we're here to make our presentation, but it shouldn't be that long.
Yeah, we try. I mean, you don't always succeed, but we try to say, hey, this one, especially if it's like an other matter, like a minor modification, hey, you should go first or whatever.
Yeah,
sometimes though you make a mistake. This should be easy because the applicant tells you, yeah, it's non-controversial, and then you're like, wait, you're trying to pull something over on us. Yes, that's controversial. And then you're like an hour later, something you thought would take 10 minutes, you're still there.
Yep, that sounds about right. Robin, how's it going?
All right.
So I'm aware that we're going to be down. Matt has a pre-existing conflict, and then Aaron had a pre-existing conflict as well. So we're going to be down both of them. And then Ezra, I don't believe, is going to be attending because his contract runs out at the end of the month. But based on not having Aaron, he agreed to, even outside of the contract window, come back for one of the July meetings. So I figured it would be a better utilization of our resources. Plus, as if Julie and or Matt hop on, I'll explain later. There was some feedback we're waiting for from the state regarding an adjustment we may or may not want to make to our zoning based on some of the rules. But
Was that the contiguous thing that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Be interesting then.
yeah, normally I would try to start to convene, but we only have 3 members, so give everyone a couple more minutes. If not, if someone else from the board doesn't hop on relatively, or the group doesn't hop on relatively soon, maybe this will just be a very quick meeting.
Sounds good.
Can't say I complain about that. I have a presentation to prep for a client tomorrow, so.
Yeah, sometimes it's those hidden hours when something gets canceled that are almost more valuable than actually planned time.
Yes, although this is just in lieu of missing as much sleep, so, I'll take it.
How many members do I do? So
7.
what is a quorum? So 7. So yeah, we don't even
Yeah.
technically have a board.
Yeah.
Which, if it's just updates, right?
I wondered the quorum thing, because town meeting in Wakefield, quorum is 1. That the moderator is the only quorum we need. He can call it with just himself.
Which is different than
But
just
the
a public
committees are
hearing,
all majority. Yeah,
because they're not town meeting. It's a public hearing. They're
I guess so. Is
adjudicatory.
that how it works?
Yeah, they're adjudicatory essentially. Essentially, some are more adjudicatory, the planning board, stuff like that, but
Yeah, but we're not.
and it's by charter too. So we don't have a charter, so yeah, what do we follow? But
Yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
the safe fallback. But on the other hand, I think it's a low risk.
no, I don't disagree. I just always thought it was surprising in Wakefield, the town meeting quorum is 1. That's all.
Yeah,
It was more.
I don't know if necessarily would have thought. I would have thought they would have had something greater than 1, but less than the town population, or you know what I mean. Like I can imagine if you had town meeting, the quorum was half the town. That feels like that would be a recipe for disaster.
We don't have a space that can accommodate.
Nor do we ever get there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Could have it outside. We could have it at a football stadium.
I don't know. What is their stadium's capacity?
Bring your hand warmers.
So I will say this: if we get to 7:10 and no one else hopped on, I feel like that's probably the cutoff, unless you guys disagree.
It's for me.
Okay.
I'm thinking back to the college day where there was that big joke of like, how long does it take until the teacher shows up to know if the classes are canceled? Everyone's convinced there's a rule in the books, but there really never is.
No one had the guts to actually walk out as a class.
Oh, I had folks walk out and the teacher shows up afterwards.
I went to a school that was probably from. I went to the Naval Academy, so
Oh, well, then you stay there.
we like a bunch of idiots would probably just sat there the entire time.
Yes, that does hold a different standard when
We might get in trouble. Oh,
go clean the latrine.
yeah.
I mean,
You
that's the
can't go
difference.
out this weekend.
I feel like
What's that,
that's the
Jim?
difference is that if in that setting, there's consequences to being the one who leaves and the teacher shows up. Where in other universities and colleges, the consequences aren't quite as fatal. Or
And you know what's
I don't
funny
think
is,
fatal.
yeah, I was gonna say not fatal, but impactful.
you know what's funny is in my experience, the professor is more apt to do something about it, or the civilian professors, not the military, because it was about a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
But most of the military professors would kind of like, don't do it again, guys. Just don't, if you get it, or as a civilian professor, like, no, it's the rules. I have to report you.
Well, in contrast, I went to a Catholic college and had a few classes with ministers and priests, or
Ah.
priests and nuns. So like, some would say that the threat could be of a different sort. Jim, where'd you go to school?
I went to school at WPI, Worcester Polytech. So
So no clergy and no military.
no.
All engineers, all black and white. What year did you graduate from there, Jim?
I graduated in 2010, and then I got my master's in 2011.
Okay, it's probably a little, like one of my close buddies graduated, but he was probably, so I'm 2004, he was probably 2006 or 7.
Okay. Yeah, I graduated, looked around, it was the post 08 financial crisis. I was trying to go into construction. I said, master's it is.
One delayed a year.
So
That's essentially why I went to law school. I was getting out of the Navy in 2009. So I was like, oh, okay, I don't have any real life experience, so I should probably not try to get a job right now.
yeah. Although the only saving grace is that once I was the first engineer my firm hired in the post 08 crisis, and it's been on a heater my entire career, which is both good and bad, because I've been waiting for 08 to happen again, and it hasn't. But at the same time, like, I mean, the economic cycle is so long in the tooth, you're just like kind of bracing yourself.
Yeah, they're calling for it now, but
Yeah,
the market, economists are calling for it now, but the markets are not.
Yeah.
Well, teasing.
yeah. Well, I mean, sure, Robin, you guys are probably you probably have some sort of similar experience in terms of just kind of bracing for like the recession that never came for the last like 5 years.
We've noticed ups and downs. I mean, I'm personally a little insulated because I'm on a 8-year design construction project, so this thing isn't going to go away anytime soon. But no, in our other market sectors, you don't tend to hire. You kind of be a little more careful about things. Or at least that's our approach.
Yeah. I know we just personally for us, we've had sectors of our business, like we had a big corporate TI portion of our business pre-COVID that basically went to zero for a while, and it kind of had what I call the dead cat bounce for a little bit, but it's still not anything like it was. But life science helps.
Yes.
So, well, it's 7:10, so I guess this will be the meeting that wasn't. Before we hop off, just one thing to put in everyone's mind's eye. I know I was able to touch base with the planning board regarding the Greenwood Station elements. I don't know if either of you connected with your boards, but that's something I wanted to put on everyone's radar as something that I'll be looking to discuss in the next meeting.
So I didn't talk to the zoning board simply because from a standpoint of like, since we are the ones who sort of will end up adjudicating it, not like we're not a planning board or we're not a town council. We are. I just figured we'd take direction from the other two. Right. Yeah, this portion.
And I mentioned that we'll be having something to talk to with the committee, but I didn't get into details, figuring it was a little too abstracted for them. I'd rather have a plan or something to say that this is things we're talking about. That seems to work better for us.
Okay, fair enough. The for what it's worth, the planning board expressed support for. They didn't think it was an exceeding of our mandate, but again, we'll discuss in more detail for when others in the group are on and engaged. So, but more to come on that. The only other thing I'd ask you guys to think about is, I know I started taking a look at the draft bylaw, and I'd ask you guys to just think about what you think makes sense. When I was going through them, I kind of think the answer is kind of a compare and contrast and use bits and pieces of both, especially considering that you're kind of gutting a lot of the existing Wakefield overlay language, because a lot of it's related to like zoning board of appeal character. How does that whole special permit process work? So a lot of that isn't really applicable. But things to put on people's radar. Again, if we're not gonna have a meeting tonight, I won't get into the weeds with it not being a formal meeting.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I looked at it. I guess I don't have as much far less experience. You guys are reading the zoning to even know how ours looks like, to know what works in terms of kind of keeping the same tone, format, stuff like that. So leave
Yeah,
it
I
to you
guess,
guys more.
yeah, at the end of the day, my only. I was gonna say concern, but it's not concern, my only, I don't know, true, well. Number one goal would be to make sure that it is, I think we talked about it before, like it's standalone thing, so whenever something else changes. A standalone section, I guess, no matter what approach we take, so if something else changes, it doesn't. Have to go back to the state and, they say, oh, now you're out of compliance. So just, just get it all out of the way at once, and we don't have to do this every time we change something.
Yep, I think that makes sense. Okay, well, in that case, I won't belabor the point. Thank you guys for the meeting that wasn't, and enjoy your night back.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.